So good morning everyone. Thank you for joining. Our class this morning is going to focus in large part on the expression of inner freedom. If you're joining live, this is a broadcast on July 4th, which in so many ways represents freedom from oppression. In the world of yoga, and in my humble opinion, this day represents an opportunity for us to connect with our own sense of inner freedom. There's a wonderful affirmation in one of our postures, the face of light pose, that is, free in my heart, I live without fear. Free in my heart, I live without fear. Just say it a couple of times and feel into the heart. Free in my heart, I live without fear. Free in my heart, I live without fear. To me, this affirmation captures the essence of how we become free in ourselves. And the way that we do that is by choosing to be free. It doesn't mean that outer circumstances will change. It doesn't mean that there'll be less suffering necessarily in body, mind, or spirit. And in fact, the saints of many great ages have demonstrated to us that it's not freedom from suffering that creates a saintly attitude or a saintly person. In fact, it's under any circumstances, even some of the worst imaginable in a concentration camp, that we can still win our freedom. And even more importantly, that it's under these great times of outer pressure, of inner change and turmoil, that we really do have the greatest opportunity to grow. Peaceful times do not create saints. In the Hindu tradition, there's the story of the Bhagavad Gita, which comes from the larger epic of the Mahabharata. And in the Bhagavad Gita, on the outside, it's a battle between good and evil, which is upward rising forces and downward pulling forces. On the inside, it's the battle that we are all in ourselves, where each moment we have an opportunity to unify, to lift our consciousness, come into higher awareness, to become a greater, more expansive version of ourself, or we can shrink down and contract and lower our consciousness to go back to something more familiar. And this is the battleground of inner freedom, that every moment we have that choice. And we seize that choice by responding to life. So many of us, I've observed in my own life, actually, this exact experience. It feels as though life is happening automatically, like it's a train that we just can't quite catch up to. And the reality is that if we can still ourselves, that if we can take a few deep breaths, we can practice our outer forms of yoga asana, the postures, and meditate, we discover that we do have a choice. Like the great Saint Yogananda said, every situation is neutral. It's our response that makes it so. So I invite you today to practice these yogic principles of inner freedom, of the ability to choose how you wish to respond to any given situation. In the acute experience, this may be sensation in the body. A challenging posture might invoke an immediate struggle of muscles or mind. And this is the laboratory, this is the practice ground in which we practice being in challenging situations so that when we go out into the world, we can replicate what we've done here in our little isolated practice. Of course, the greatest connection to freedom is to surrender into a flow of grace and to feel not that you're guiding your own life, but that a greater benevolence, a divine flow, which we've all felt in ecstatic moments of joy or happiness in our lives around particular people or situations. This is the highest way that we can be in this world, is to let grace pour through us. And it's the highest way that we can practice these postures. So again, as you practice this morning, you have a choice. You can respond, and we can choose to allow grace to guide our lives ever more perfectly. Let's start with a chant this morning. For those of you new to this practice, chanting is a practice that we use to open the heart. The Western mind is well adapted to having a strong mind, strong willpower, but sometimes we lack in the heart. And it's through music, especially chanting, which is prayer set to melody. It is a powerful way to balance us. So I invite you all to get involved in chanting and to chant this one with me if you'd like. This chant is to Kali, and Kali is the representation of Mother Nature. She sometimes gets a little bit of a bad rep for being this very severe goddess who is unrelenting, and as we know, Mother Nature can be that way. But she's also sweet. She manifests in the flowers. She manifests in the fruits that we enjoy, in the blue skies, in the warm days. So this is honoring Mother Nature, Om Kali. It's only 2 words, Om and Kali. more moments together behind closed eyes. Sitting upright, tall in the spine. Whole body relaxed so that the inner channel can be fluid and dynamic, living in its expression. Let's move from the heart up to the spiritual eye, looking deeply into this point. There's nothing out there in the world, nothing in the world that can free us. Only the inner movement of our consciousness can create any lasting and true change. By lifting up to the spiritual eye, we're drawing the energy from the lower centers of down and outward, pulling energy. We're lifting that up to the point of liberation in the body. If you have unwanted habits, thoughts, or emotions, offer them up in gratitude as your teachers, breath is calm. Feel the charge beginning to run through your body as you gently lift the gaze. When you're ready, you can slowly open the eyes. So, good morning, everyone. I hope you feel a little more inward and ready to practice in a spiritual way. So when you're ready, you can go ahead and come out of your seat, and we'll lift ourselves right up onto our feet and come into the first postures of our practice. Let's take feet nice and wide, and we're going to bend the knees, bracing hands under the thighs. Take a nice deep breath in. Exhale, release head and neck and look down. Then inhale to press up. Exhale to release. Couple more times. Inhaling to rise. Keep the knees deeply bent. Releasing. Last time, expanding your capacity for breath. We're going to slowly roll our way up the spine, so roll, 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 release the head, and gently roll your way up the body, and we'll step feet back underneath the hips. Let's inhale and sweep the arms up above the head, come right on the tips of the toes. Exhale, heels get heavy, sink back down towards the ground. The idea here is to get so light and free in your body that the movement starts to feel effortless. The more relaxed that we are, inwardly attuned, the easier it becomes to move our body in space. Heaviness in body is a mental state. What I mean by that, it is an inner perspective, a way that we are viewing our body in any given moment. No matter your physical weight, you can feel weightless in your body. In fact, there was a 300-pound saint, Trilanga, in India, who used to be observed floating above the water. This was observed by millions of people. When you're ready, inhaling, we'll float the arms all the way up for the last time here. Exhale, palms face down, heels sink to the earth. You're going to press all the way down until you're forward folded. Inhale, you can press up with the thighs to lift halfway, so crown of the head stays long. If you look at my spine, it's nice and long. There's no rounding. The belly muscles are squeezing. And then we're exhaling, bending the knees and folding. Take a couple more rounds. Inhaling, the affirmation is nothing on earth can hold me. Make sure you release head and neck at the bottom. Inhale as your respite. Nothing on earth can hold me. One more time. Inhaling to breathe the vital airs of positive thinking. Soul qualities. Let's bend the knees and roll up the spine this time. Nothing on earth can hold me. Rise, O my soul, in freedom. Inhale to lift on the tips of the toes, ball of the foot, arms up into the sky. Good. Exhale to spread nice and wide. Let's just stay with this movement. Feels really nice this morning. Just so simple. There's no striving. There's no need to overdo the posture. A simple basking in the bliss of your body. If we wish to grow in our lives, we would look to the example of the saints, who are very energetic people, very light on their feet, graceful. Cosmic consciousness seems to pour through them. And this is the path that we're all on to sainthood. Let's go ahead and come up over to the side, and you can take one hand to the heart, opposite arm reaching up and over for half moon pose. So palm is facing down as you reach up and over. The focus in this pose is on reaching up first and then over. It doesn't matter how deeply you can fold your spine to the side if it doesn't feed into awakening joy within your heart. The affirmation is a fortifying affirmation for this pose. Strength and courage fill my body cells. It takes strength and courage in this world to stand up to our God-given tests. The divine constantly sends us her messengers as cranky people, angry people, to test our love. Strength and courage fill my body cells. I got one yesterday. You can come in through a neutral position and just switch sides as a snooty teenager at the ice cream stand. What can we do but just love? We might get upset first, but then how quickly do we rebound? When do we start praying? Strength and courage fill my body cells. Strength and courage fill my body cells. Now you can lean a little closer to your threshold and feel that wonderful quality of strengthening. This posture is a great way to strengthen the columns of muscle on either side of your spine. If you have back injuries, which is typically due to weakness of the muscles surrounding the spine, strengthen these muscles. Strength and courage fill my body cells. You're ready to come out of the pose. Both arms go up into the sky. Turn the palms to press up like you're lifting the roof. Raise the roof above you. Lift the ceiling for your own inner growth. Reach, reach, reach. Deep breath in. Good. Let's take an exhalation, descend nice and slowly. Part the arms. These are energetic movements. Muscles will relax as soon as the energy flows harmoniously. Good. Let's take hands. We'll fold them right up under the shoulders and then open the arms wide. We're going to inhale and sweep the shoulders and elbows as we come on the tips of the toes. And then exhale and circle back and down and bend the knees. So really dramatic movements here. The breath takes you opening, and you're coaxing the heart to open in this little practice here. To lift its energy. Good. And then we're reversing the direction so elbows connect and then roll up and back and down. Just a few times, so there's no rush, nowhere to be, except for in the process right now. Good. One more time. Inhaling, big sweeping breath, opening, and exhaling, releasing down. Good, let's go ahead and we'll take feet a little bit wider, and you're going to shift over onto your left foot here. We'll take right foot and just start swinging it around in the space. And it's almost like it's an empty coat sleeve, so you let it be relaxed enough that it can move, yet with enough integrity that you're not sort of flopping all over the place. If you need to hold onto your opposite elbow, this is a great way to help you balance if you're new to these practices. Circling around. Keep the foot rather low if you can, and we'll do the other side. What are we all seeking freedom from? It's the automatic inner impulses where we don't have a choice. It's just goes directly from thought or feeling to action. We want a little more space in there. The hips are the emotional centers in the body, other than the heart. So feel that cleansing, letting go of emotions that no longer serve you. Good. Let's just take a little sweep side to side, just checking in with the hips. Good. Take feet nice and wide once more, bending knees, hands on thighs. Let's take a deep breath in. All the breath out of the mouth. Inhale to rise. Open mouth, exhale. Again. Notice how deep you can get with your breath. Exhaling to release. Nothing on earth can hold me. Last time, let all the breath go out. Deep, deep release in the body. Now if you can, let go of your thighs and turn your feet to face inward. So your heels are facing out, toes facing in. Release the body forward. Weight is on the balls of your feet. And take a respite. Good time to stretch muscles of the face, or if your hands are free, do a little massage of the scalp here. Try anchoring tips of the fingers in the scalp and just shift the skin. So no scratching of the scalp in this little exercise, just a shifting of the skin. Good. When you're ready, you can inhale slowly, start to roll up the spine here, relieving inner restlessness, inner pressures to act. Turn the palms of the face out a little bit wider here. Shift weight onto the balls of the feet and feel your ability to stand tall in your spine. Reach with the crown of the head. Peace can only come from slowing down within. Let's look right into the spiritual eye. Nothing on earth can hold me. Say the affirmation. Nothing on earth can hold me. Rise, O my soul, in freedom. Nothing on earth can hold me. Rise, O my soul, in freedom. Let's inhale and sweep the arms up the body, palms facing up. Keep heels on the ground this time. Rise, O my soul, in freedom. Nothing on earth can hold me. Rise, O my soul, in freedom. Good. Exhale, turn the palms out. Nice, slow, steady movements help to soothe restlessness in the body. Restlessness creates desire. When you're ready, we're going to come into chair pose. In this version, as long as your knees are healthy, you can come into this version. Let's do the easy one first. So easy is shift weight onto the heels, and we sort of squat down a little. And if you notice, my hips are behind my shoulders. And this is a great alignment. The angle of my shins, or my lower legs, is the same angle as my spine. And hands are into the heart, the belly is toned. This is a great posture to rest in. If you have healthy knees and you'd like to roll hips underneath the shoulders and then lift the heels and come down a little more, this is a little more challenging. Now some of us can lower all the way down, and you're most welcome to. Do you need to? Maybe. Just notice, does it lead to a greater sense of calm within myself, or is it feeding an internal fire? The affirmation, my body is no burden, I am light as air. My body is no burden, I am light as air. You do want to find an activating place, enough that the body is beginning to activate in the pose. My body is no burden, I am light as air. My body is no burden, I am light as air. Everything happening on the internal plane, the transmuting, the transformation. Squeeze the belly for the last breath here. Inhaling, come up on the tips of the toes if you can, out of whatever posture you chose. Good, exhale, spread the arms wide. Take a big forward fold here, releasing head and neck. Maybe shake the hair out a little bit here, shake the head yes and no. Little circles with the head. How about hands into the elbow creases? We do a little swing side to side. How's the jaw in this posture? Can we maybe pretend like we're rolling an orange peel? We're picking out of our teeth here. Just to get the jaw to relax. Let's inhale, lift halfway, so keep a little bend in the knees, squeeze the belly, and lengthen through the crown of the head. Think a little toddler's tugging on your ears. Your reach, reach, reach. Weight is on the ball of the foot. And exhale, release down. Nothing on earth can hold me. Inhale to rise. Rise, oh my soul, in freedom. Hands come right up through the belly line, up into the sky. Rise, oh my soul, in freedom. Exhale, hands part around the body. Good, one more time. We'll inhale, lift palms up. Eking out a little more space. Spreading your consciousness out into the surrounding world. Good. Inhale, lifting the energy. We're clearing out any inner charge or magnetism to dark energy or negativity in our lives. Your hands are like magnets. Let them guide the energy. Inhaling to lift. Exhaling to spread. Good. Maybe we could do one more. This feels really good over here. I hope it feels good for you as well. And there's this wonderful part of our practice where we can just feel and sense. And the more that we practice this feeling and sensing quality, we begin to notice that these movements are not just with the muscles, but we're actually shifting energy. We're shifting consciousness in the body and the mind. It can be a really powerful experience if we can just relax the body and still ourselves. Good. Next time arms are up above the head, join hands together in prayer over the head. This is a standing mountain pose. Remember, weight stays right on the ball of the foot. Pressure between the palms, just enough to keep you active and to to give you something to look at, really. Look at with the inner gaze, the inner eye. Nothing on earth can hold me. Rise, O my soul, in freedom. Let's come right from this pose. If you can just step back a little with your right foot and bend your front knee a bit, and then arch the spine and reach a bit higher. This is freedom pose, Muktasan. There's a term in the yogic world, a Jivan Mukta, which is one who is freed while living. And this is what we're all aspiring to return to within our own experience, free while living. You ready to come down? Hands come into the heart. Let's straighten the front leg and we'll come right into pyramids pose. It's a great counter to the pose we were just in. So you have your front leg straight and your hips are pushing back and you're leaning forwards. And at some point, we use the affirmation together. I offer myself fully into the flow of grace. When you're ready to offer, inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale to fold the body forward. Doesn't matter how far down you get. I offer myself fully into the flow of grace. Any yogis out here that want to try a reverse prayer pose behind the heart? This can be quite interesting. You can always interlace fingers on top of the hips. Some of us had interlace fingers and fists reaching above the head. Just notice what you're actually looking for today. The litmus test is, does it strengthen the thought of I am great, or I am doing such a great job? Or does it strengthen the selfless joy, which manifests as thank you. Thank you for this posture. Thank you for the exit of this posture. We're coming out here, bend the front knee and press off the thigh. Inhale, come straight. And then lengthen in the spine, come right back into freedom pose. Wow, squeeze the legs if there's an inner flood of energy rushing up the spine. And then exhale, you can come back to neutral. We'll step back to the front of the mat. Good. If you like circling the arms, take a little bath here. A little energetic bath, palms facing down. Especially those of us who are nervous. Calm the static around the body. Wow. Who knew that you didn't need these wildly acrobatic poses? Just the gentle calming of the body, slowing down of the inner rhythms. And that all-elusive peace becomes a wellspring within the body. Let's take a moment to close the eyes and look right into your spiritual eye. I offer myself fully into the flow of grace. Soften the muscles, yet keep the spine alert. I offer myself fully into the flow of grace. When you're ready to open the eyes, whenever you feel called to, you can stay in posture as much longer than I'm cueing. Arms come up above the head. We don't need to be like automatons and follow every single movement perfectly. And we'll take a step back with the left foot, knee is bent, and we're reaching up above the head. You're arching the spine as much as your body's ready to. Those of us with long torsos, be mindful of engaging your belly. Those of us with short torsos, you can engage your belly too. The affirmation, I am free, I am free. It's like we scratched the $1 million lottery ticket and we just haven't cashed it in. It's sitting on the desk. I am free, I am free. Claim your birthright to freedom. I am free. You're ready to release out of the active posture here. Hands come down into the heart, straightening your front leg. So your right leg starts to go straight, and you start to kick your hips back a little bit here. And you can walk down your front leg if you need to. Some of us might make it down to forearms, and we brace here. Stay in the active phase for just a few moments, breathing deeply in your pyramids pose. And then when you're ready, you offer yourself with an extended spine, long and release forward. Hips go back, head goes down. I offer myself fully into the flow of grace. If you like, hands behind you, interlaced up on the hips. Just always remind yourself why you're practicing. Are you practicing for peace? Are you practicing for true inner freedom? I offer myself fully into the flow of grace. Make sure to release the head and the neck. When you're ready in your practice, you can start to bend your front knee. Release your hands if they're bound. Squeeze the belly. Inhale, push off of the knee to rise nice and steady here. If you don't need support of the leg, then don't use it. Come right into Muktasan, bending in the front knee and arching the spine. Deep, deep breath here. You've just rounded the back. You're peeling open the different energy centers in the body, and this is the moment where the channel is open. And like a water slide, a chute, the spine becomes a very fluid channel for energy to travel upward to, and it's going to the point between your two eyebrows. Stay as long as you'd like. We'll all meet at some point or another with eyes closed in a neutral relaxation and feeling posture. Look right into the spiritual eye. For practicing yogis who are deeply interested in this science, the second of the Yoga Sutras, Yoga's Chitta Vritti Narodha. Yoga is the cessation of the whirlpools of feeling. We're slowing down the alternating currents within our body. Union happens when we slow these currents down. Make sure you're resting on the ball of the foot. Yoga's Chitta Vritti Narodha. Also translated as yoga is the cessation of thought waves in the mind. Whole body relax, inviting the current of cosmic energy deeply into your body. Ready to open the eyes, feel free. So we're going to come down here. You can be creative if you'd like. If you like sweeping the arms up and around. We're going to just go ahead and bend the knees and slide down the body until we can touch the ground. Take feet behind you for downward facing dog. Focus right away is on the spine. Make sure your spine is long and free here. Forget about advancing in the muscles, toning the body. There are other muscles to be toned.
like our capacity to love under all conditions. Let us calm the inner fires, taming the wild passions. The affirmation, calmness radiates from every fiber of my being. Calmness radiates from every fiber of my being. Whenever you're ready to come down into child's pose, do so gradually and gently. Just notice if the posture starts fanning the flames of ego, or if it is rehydrating the planes of inner peace. Also the option for Vajrasana. Some of us like to sit over our ankles with palms facing up. Either way, we look right into the spiritual eye. In a world of duality, no sooner than we strive for achievement does the pendulum sweep in the other direction to disappointment. True inner freedom comes not from outer involvement, but simply from relaxing back into inner peace. The affirmation for child's pose: I relax from outer involvement into my inner haven of peace. Eventually this becomes our living practice. Even while outwardly acting, we remain calm and centered in peace. I relax from outer involvement into my inner haven of peace. Let's look to the spiritual eye. Feel the channel of the spine wide open as energy is bursting through this central channel, expanding your awareness, your consciousness far beyond the boundaries of your skin. Every muscle's relaxed, even smiling in the pose, grateful, thankful. Can you feel the grace now sweeping you? Inner planes once scorched by desires, inner restlessness, rehydrating, blooming meadows of inner peace. Take your time rising out of the pose. We're going to rise enough that we can come back to our seat and slide the feet out of the way. So you're extending your legs enough that your toes stay on the ground, but your feet are rather far away from your body. This makes it quite easy to take the left foot and pull it underneath, and then you can take the other foot and center it towards the knee. Some of us can step over. Good. And then when you're ready, you can reach out your left arm as wide as possible and wrap it around this front leg. First thing to do is to sit tall in the spine. And then with this other hand, round back behind your body. So right hand is behind you, and you're pushing off the heel of your hand, creating greater lift in the heart.
wish to withdraw anything in this world, that is, to make a withdrawal from the cosmic account, we must first deposit the affirmation, I radiate love and goodwill to soul friends everywhere. If you wish to be happy, give joy to others. I radiate love and goodwill to soul friends everywhere. Sit a little taller in your spine, never slouching, always awake. You never know when a divine realization will come knocking at your door. Keeping the heart wide open, expansive love from the center of your heart. There's no twisting or torquing. It's just a gentle embrace over to the side body. Let's inhale to lengthen as tall as you can in your spine. Sit nice and tall. And exhale to relax forwards. You can go ahead and unstep the leg out of the way and extend it out. And just holding onto the shin or even the back of the thigh. And keep elbows close by the body. Lift your chest and look right into the spiritual eye. I radiate love and goodwill to soul friends everywhere. Careful not to lift the chin here. Let the chin stay down. Just look up with the eyes. I radiate love and goodwill to soul friends everywhere. You can try for the other side when you feel that you'd like to. So you just extend your feet out, tuck the other foot underneath, and you might just step back to here. You might be able to step over. Just find what works for your body. You can always just sit like this as well and twist off to the side. And we don't need to go into pretzel twists if our body's not desiring that. Inhale, reaching out nice and wide with this right arm. Inhale to extend from the heart. And then you can wrap around the front leg. Opposite arm waves around behind the body, a great big circle as we look over to the side. Sit tall on the spine and relax upward. I radiate love and goodwill to soul friends everywhere. I radiate love and goodwill to soul friends everywhere. And feel with each successive round of breath that the inner pressures to be in another moment, they just start to fall away. And there's a saccharine sweetness that begins to exude from your practice. The peace of the heart, the simplicity of enjoying where you are. I radiate love and goodwill to soul friends everywhere. You take Take your final breath in the pose whenever you feel ready. It's in these final moments of the posture when we really start to relax that the inner shifts start happening. So don't be afraid to stay for another few breaths. Some of our bodies are new to these postures. We're ready to come out. So you unstep your foot out of the way. Everything is graceful. Place that foot back on the ground and sit as tall in your spine as you can. Careful not to lift the chin. Sometimes when we are practicing looking upward with the eyes, with the spiritual eye, we start finding our chin lifting. And we know what people look like when they look down their nose at us. Certainly not a yogic quality. I radiate love and goodwill to soul, friends everywhere. Feeling grace flowing through you, new life and consciousness pouring into your body temple. You're ready to open the eyes, feel free, and you can go ahead and unstep. So last of our seated postures, we're going to extend the legs. And this is Paschimottanasana, or the forward folding pose. Just reach back and pull the muscle of the glutes out of the way. What you're trying to do is get your pelvis to tilt forwards a little bit more here. Sometimes the muscle on the front side of the hip can be a little tight. You might give a little rubbing there, especially from driving and sitting. Now if you're very new, take your fingers behind you and push off the earth and work on lengthening your heart. I'll show you from the side. So better to keep the spine nice and long. I'll show you this is what to do than to start folding already in the pose. So work on keeping your spine upright. Now over time, you start walking your hands a little further forwards. Over even more time, you might even walk your hands in front of the hips. But notice the spine doesn't round. So just find where you really are in your practice and be happy with that place. And you're always reaching through the crown of the head, almost like you could spring out of your seat at any moment. Now, any yogis that can walk hands further down, feel free. Spine is still long. Good. Wave the toes a little bit here. Some yogis have knees bent, and that's totally fine. It actually makes it quite a bit easier to lean forwards. There's a constant little battle between the hamstrings wrapping up on the hips and the low spine. At some point, we feel the encouragement to roll our head downward, and this is the point where rounding the back is acceptable and is very helpful in the pose. Any yogis that can reach your big toes, take your first two fingers and wrap them around. Just be sure you're not sort of hanging on by a thread here to hold this pose, and release the head down. Just think of that wonderful Bible quote, the meek shall inherit the earth. Be meek in your practice. Even if you can go into these great pretzel twists, is it really necessary? Meek does not mean weak. It means humble, knowing one's potential, knowing one's power and strength, yet knowing with wisdom when it's necessary to express it. The affirmation, I am safe, I am sound, all good things come to me. I am safe, I am sound, all good things come to me. This posture happens most powerfully at the root of the spine. Feel that wonderful root energy beginning to
expand. I am safe, I am sound, all good things come to me. Of course, some of us, this posture is wonderful, others will be different. So when you feel the call to rise up, just do so calmly, without rushing. When you do get back to neutral, press off of the heels of the hands and sit tall in the spine and look right into the spiritual eye behind closed eyes. See if you can feel the channel of the spine. Wiggle the toes if there's overwhelming sensation or you sort of feel a protective grip happening in the body. When you're ready, you can slowly start to bend the knees and scooch your hips forwards. We're going to hold on the backs of the thighs and roll our way down onto our spines. And take one leg at a time and go ahead and extend the legs nice and long. We'll do fish pose. This is a powerful pose. Just be mindful of the strength of your neck. You're going to slightly bend your elbows. Watch me first and then try the pose, just so you have another idea of how to do it. If you have very long arms, your hands will be sort of below your hips. Shorter arms, they come up a bit higher. You're going to drag on the top of the head and arch the spine. So the head never lifts, and you're resting on elbows and the head. You're looking up behind you, so come in the pose whenever you're ready. Now, very important for those that arrive in the pose and say, that's not for me, slide on the back of your head and roll your spine back into the ground. If you can stay in the pose for a few breaths, it's a wonderful posture for the body, opens the heart. The affirmation, my soul floats on waves of cosmic light. My soul floats on waves of cosmic light. Careful not to wake back up that little ego gremlin inside. Stay underneath the radar. Come out of the pose before you reach any limitation by sliding on the head. Good. Counter pose, knees come right in towards the chest and just rest here for a few moments. If you like rocking, you can rock side to side. The eyes stay closed and then come into stillness and just rest. Look right to the spiritual eye so that you can feel that new awakening of awareness in the body. Relax the jaw, the expression on the face. We're going to come into plow pose. If you're very new to the practice, you might only just extend the feet a little over the face. Feel free to watch me first. In fact, if you've never done it, please do. Plug your elbows into the ground, and you might just press back a little bit. Some of us get there and we say, ooh, that's not for me, and you gently release out of the pose. Some of us want to go deeper, and we hold onto the hips and extend the feet behind us. Some of us go even deeper, so much as to release our feet onto the ground behind us. So find what works for you. That's usually a good comfort point. And once you get in the pose, please resist the temptation to look around. Just close your eyes. It's not safe for the upper spine to be moving or articulating left and right. The affirmation, new life, new consciousness, now flood my brain. New life, new consciousness, now flood my brain. New
life, new consciousness now flood my brain. Some of us will come to knee to ear pose. You bend your legs and set your knees right by your ears. Some of us think, how in the world could I ever get myself near that posture? And it's quite alright. When you're ready to lower down, lower down. And just hold the knees up towards the chest. If you're in knee to ear pose, take some time there. It's a wonderful posture. If you're coming down, you might be rolling side to side, soothing the body. Keeping the charge of gratitude coursing through your veins. Thank you, beautiful body. Thank you for what you do for me. I expect nothing of you. Thank you so much. Thank you for this expansive consciousness, the peace that I feel within myself right now. Last pose is supportive shoulder stand. If you're new to the practice, take fists underneath the hips and send feet up towards the sky. Don't worry if your knees are bent, it's fine. If you're coming higher, watch me first. Elbows plug into the earth and you press off the elbows and sweep the feet overhead. It's a nice graceful movement until you're holding onto your hips and your feet are going up towards the sky. Again, no looking left or right in this position. It's just to keep you safe for the longevity of your practice. Look right into the spiritual eye. Relax the entire body and receive in this pose. Look steady at the spiritual eye. Some of us may, if you soften your gaze and relax there, you might begin to see the subtle light that hides behind the darkness of closed eyes. If this pressure building in your face, you start by taking deep breaths. If this doesn't alleviate that experience, then bend your knees and come down. Otherwise, especially experienced yogis in the room, stay here for a while. Stay for another minute. Let the prana drain out of the legs to come back to the heart, to be refreshed. So wherever you are in your practice, when you do find yourself lowering down, ready to come into Shavasana, just extend one leg out at a time, resting onto the ground. Palms are going to face up. Sometimes in our practice, we get a little bit of a gripping in our low spine. This is your spine trying to protect you. Bend your knees right away. Open your arms nice and wide and wave the knees side to side. Just repeat the affirmation, I am safe, I am sound, all good things come to me. Thank you, body, for protecting me, but I am safe, I am sound. So you be the judge of your own practice. When you do feel inspired to relax into your final resting pose, feel free. Certainly the option in our practice to close with a meditation or a seated posture. So whatever you'd like, I'll be here meditating with you, whether you're lying down or in your seat. It might be nice to have a blanket close by, not to keep the body necessarily warm unless you're cold, but more to keep your sense of energy contained within the spine, on everything central here. Look right into the spiritual eye. I was with a man yesterday who is very close to leaving this earth. And he has the wonderful privilege to do it in the comfort of his own home, surrounded by those who love him. And we were praying with him yesterday, and I couldn't help but notice, as his spirit was starting to leave, his eyes were turning up towards the spiritual eye. And there was an angelic feeling in the room. And as soon as his eyes lowered, he was back on the earthly plane. He was back in the body, breathing in that process. And it was such a privilege. And this is what we're all doing here, as we're practicing for this moment of release from the physical body. By looking into the spiritual eye, not that you're dying, but maybe that a part of your identity that was not true is beginning to die. Let's enjoy some silence for the next 4 or 5 minutes. very slowly and gradually begin to make our way back. Before stirring in the body, feel yourself floating in an ocean of consciousness. Look into the spiritual eye and let waves and ripples of peace pulse through the body, dislodging any boulders of restlessness. Gradually coming back more and more. Taking now conscious breaths, deep inhalations. Let those inhalations inspire movements of fingers and toes. Let those movements grow to arms overhead, little squirms of the body, side to side as needed. You can roll off to your right side when you're ready to, hugging knees and towards the chest. Take a few moments here just to be inwardly still. When you feel inspired to, you can gently roll your way back to your seat. When you do arrive in your seat, let it be comfortable, so fold your legs in a way that you can sustain. Take a little rocking from one side to the other and keep the eyes closed. You know, this whole show is really happening on the inner stage. And then lift the crown of the head a little bit wider, a little bit taller. Come into a place of stillness. Heart is open. It's just sound silently within Om at the spiritual eye. You're saying the words, but more so you're feeling the presence of upliftment, the dawning of a new horizon, a new perspective of yourself in this world. As an affirmation for one of our poses, I sail serenely through skies of inner freedom. That's the type of freedom that we're feeling. I sail serenely through skies of inner freedom. Feel yourself joining now in these moments with all the other yogis around the world, practicing, who are in uplifted states of peace and higher awareness. A network or a fabric of light beings around the world. You're connecting into this fabric, and we're wrapping around the world, pulsing waves of healing energy into the world from our center of peace. If we find ourselves in outward activity during these revolutionary times, make sure that it comes from this place of love and peace. Careful not to become a supporter of these lower vibrational frequencies. Keep yourself uplifted. It serves no one in this world to get caught up in the drama. It only strengthens the drama in the world. Let's send another pulse of light and love into this world by rubbing the palms. Stay uplifted. Expanding the palms, feel your body as a channel for grace. I offer myself fully into the flow of grace. Let it pour forth through you. Let's send blessings of Om out into the world. Chant with me. Deep breath in. Om. Holding hands with all the yogis around the world, one final Om. Deep breath and pulse that energy out. Let it pour forth through your hands. When you're ready, hands come back together in prayer. Gentle bow of the head towards our hands in prayer. We bow to the divine nature within us that is blossoming in these very moments. We bow to that divine nature within all beings, wishing for their best and their highest good, that they too take the steps towards right action, towards kindness and love. Pray for the upliftment of this world as often as you can. Honoring this divinity, we bow our heads and saying Namaste. Namaste. Take your time coming back and slowly opening the eyes. Don't rush. We are going to start a meditation in just a couple of minutes here. So it's a great time just to close the eyes and sort of bathe in this wonderful awareness. If you are leaving, thank you so much for being here today. Thank you for the energy that you bring into this practice. It's what makes it happen. It's what creates this beauty together. So thank you so much for your personal contribution. We are all unique and individual lights in this world, and we need everyone shining together. So keep shining that peaceful, loving consciousness of yours into the world. We'll join in meditation in just a few moments. Namaste.